A lot of y'all know I know. All this is a show. Watch me. Yo, been a loss of identity, many captivities. Can't trace your history, past the antiquities. Different cold facilities, claiming it an answer. Leave you more screwed up like smoking, dying from cancer. The dead necromancer speaking with rude banter. Thinking it's the God while a man is your master. Burdens placed on you, time and financial. God is black crisis too, that's how they catch you. Use a hint of truth combined with manipulation. Jeremiah 14:2, not what it's saying. Play word association, you take it as a precept. And some of them are who they teach the hate, just don't know yet. Stereotypical, very hypocritical. Who they preach to stay away from, their life's identical. Their ways are archaic, but traders don't say it. The rules he been changing, read the songs with King David. The Lord said to my Lord, that's all I need to mention. Before the resurrection in prison was his dissension. In the flesh he was rejected by the same frauds fronting. Those holy days collecting the tights, they mean nothing. Why you barely make it struggling? 9 to 9 hustling, you leave the ship and indulging, kick back bubbling. Threaten you with discipline, never the king's regimen. Lump getting worse and worse than purge the old Lebanon. Some of them, when they hear this, will call me heretic. That's blasphemous. I follow the sun, and that's my heritage. Was once apart, derelict with family. I was negligent and dealt with them negative, like wasn't even relative. Weakness brought skeletons, lot of poor choices. Repented, now I have to be a voice for the voiceless. There's only one sinless. We all worthy of death, so I'ma stand up to my very last breath, and nothing's left. They gon' pay for their deaths. A bunch of false prophets, use this word for profits, fatting in their pockets. Cars, clothes, and mansions, vacations in the tropics. I witnessed to it, I saw with my own eyes. Nothing spoken microscopic, enormous and gigantic. At the presence, they run troubled in the panic, can't stand it. Got a lot of brothers, comrades, in mad places. Nothing racist, this war's about faith and who's faithless. Know what I know, some of y'all are east, so that means wasted. At the throne, there's no place with the one whose days ancient.
1 2 1 2. We are live. We are live. We are live. 1 2 1 2 1 2. We are live. We are live. We're gonna get right into it. Got a good one for y'all tonight. Just trying to see where we're going to start off. But as you can see by the title, Faces of the Agenda. Faces of the Agenda. I'm going to give it about another second. Hope everybody's good. Thank you for tapping in, for tuning in. Salute, my brother. Peace. Yeah, it's going to be a good one tonight. Real good one. To play as well. And yeah, we're going to go through it. Faces of the Agenda. All right. So let us begin, shall we? Let's get to it. Very interesting fellow here. He's an advisor for the World Economic Forum. So he works hand in hand with the other guy, Klaus Schwab. And he says, we don't need vast majority of population. So let that sit for a second. And you see what this guy's about. You see what he's about. Population control. Population control. This is a part of the agenda as we went through Grace and Pieces, as we went through with the other guy, as mentioned before, Klaus Schwab and the likes of such, and how they want to control the population, how they want to control the amount of people that are born, have control over bringing forth children. So his stance is we don't need a vast majority population. That's his stance. This is what he stands for. Okay? This is what he stands for. So let's see what else is going on with this guy right here. And what's his name? Let's get everything situated. Some real crazy weather for those that's in the Eastern Corridor, the East Coast, and within the Midwest. So look at this guy creeping around the bend. Yuval Noah Harari. Yuval Noah Harari. This is actual site. And the thing that's crazy is that what's really wild, right, is these people do what they do. They have all these different speeches and points in regards to agendas and so forth and so on. And they lay it out. They leave the evidence in regards to what it is that they have planned. And again, like I always say, and I'll repeat it every time, all I'm doing is presenting the information. That's all I'm doing. I'm presenting the information. Whether you believe it or you don't, whether you accept it or you don't, you have your liberty. Everyone has their liberty. They have their freedom to believe what it is that you choose to believe in. You have your freedom. You have your liberty. You have a lot of rich, filthy rich, 100-millionaire status individual, billionaire status individuals that they don't have nothing else to do but conspire and meditate on how to oppress and eradicate the poor from existing. This is what they do night and day. This is what they do. So Professor Yuval Noah Harari is a historian, a philosopher, and the best-selling author of *Sapien*, A Brief History of Humankind, Homo Deus, A Brief History of Tomorrow, 21 Lessons of the 21st Century. The series *Sapiens*, A Graphic History and Unstoppable Us. And *Nexus*, A Brief History of Information Networks from the Stone Age to AI. His books have sold over 45 million copies in 65 languages. His books have sold over 45 million copies in 65 languages. And he is considered one of the world's most influential public intellectuals today. So, what he has to say, basically, from what we gather from this information from his site, his bio, that he is so intellectually superior and influential that his books have sold over 45 million copies in 65 languages. That is paramount to make these books available in these different languages so people can be indoctrinated and get the information. Born in Israel in 1976, Harari received his PhD from the University of Oxford in 2002. He's a distinguished research fellow at the University of Cambridge Center for the Study of Existential Risk in 2019, following the international success of his books, Yuval Noah Harari co-founded Sapienship with his husband and original agent, Itzhak Yahav. Sapienship is a social impact company with projects in the fields of education and storytelling, whose main goal is to focus the public conversation on the most important global challenges facing the world today. Him and his husband. Yuval Noah Harari. It gets better. Wait till we get to the clips. That indeed, my brother. That indeed. Absolutely. These are some diabolical people, man, and they have all kind of diabolical plans and schemes and ideas of what it is that they want to do and what they want to present to implement on humanity. So it gets better. There's more. There's more. Let's continue on. Not going to go too heavy with him today. Just presenting the face. Because again, this is the faces of the agenda. So this series here of episodes might be a little bit more lengthy than some of the others because there's a lot of information to present. And real quick, those that's in attendance, I salute you. Thank you for tuning in and stopping in to partake with the information. Just give me a thumbs up. How I'm sounding. Let me know what's going on, how I sound. Is everything coming through right? Let me know. We can. So this is his husband, as shown on 60 Minutes. With another prominent person of that rainbow community interviewing them. Appreciate it. All right. So again, just keep in mind, you know, and now be cognizant of the name. You heard the name, you know. You got a face to the name. And yeah, this is, you know, people have no children of their own and no families established and don't believe in the idea of how a family's supposed to be. and want to tell other humans what to do, what they cannot do, what they should do. So this is from the Israel Times. Yuval Noah Harari worries that LGBT acceptance, will lead to backlash. It's illegal within the state or the country of Israel to have a same-sex marriage ceremony, but it's still accepted and they still celebrate it. You can check this out and research it yourself. Just look up the annual gay parade in Tel Aviv, in the land of Israel. On a strip ironically called King David Boulevard. And they hold their annual quote-unquote pride parade there within the confines of what's supposed to be the Holy Land. And he is a citizen born in this land. And although the outright marrying of same-sex individuals is not done there, but once it's done, you can still be a couple openly and celebrate it within those parades and so forth. So again, this is the guy, one of the faces of the agendas. And as the bro said earlier, I'll put his comment back up. No cat, honestly, dude looks like he fits the profile of a psychopath. So let's get some clips, shall we? Let's get clips. Let's get a couple clips. And let's see what some of the thoughts that he has and what he speaks on in regards to AI technology, the existence of God. What are his thoughts?
The next big projects of humankind will be to overcome old age and death, to find the keys, the secret to happiness, and to basically upgrade humans into gods. This is why the title Homo Deus, God-man. And I don't mean it as a kind of literary metaphor. I mean it in the literal sense.
So this is through transhumanism. What he's talking about, men becoming quote unquote gods and transforming into gods. Basically the mixing of man and machine.
That for thousands of years, humans have imagined gods in a particular way. They ascribed particular abilities and qualities to gods. And we are here in a church, and the walls are full of these descriptions of what God can do. And we are now seriously in the business of acquiring these traditional divine abilities and qualities to ourselves. Whether it's trying to overcome death and gain immortality, or whether it's gaining the ability to create and design life according to our wishes. In the Bible, in the book of Genesis, basically the first thing God does is to create animals and plants and humans according to his wishes. We are now trying to gain this divine ability to ourselves. It's very likely.
So, like what was presented before with the World Economic Forum, you can go back to the earlier videos, and what was presented in regards to the World Economic Forums is they say you won't want to have steak anymore. You don't need to have steak anymore. That's a treat. That's something you can have, once in a while. Plus, you'll be able to eat lab-made meat, which is more eco-friendly because you're not killing the animals. So you get lab-made steak. You can have an occasional real steak, from time to time, as a treat. But if you want to have a taste of meat regularly, then they have lab-grown meat.
That in the 21st century, the main product, the most important products of the human economy will no longer be just vehicles and textiles and food and weapons. The main products will be bodies and brains and minds. And in a way, we are even reaching beyond what ancient religions ascribed to the gods. Because the gods, like Jehovah in the Bible, they could create only organic beings. If you're a creationist and you look at the world, so all these animals, all these plants, God created them and they're all organic. Now humans are trying to do better than that.
You see? So this is what he has in store. Just peep the mind state. We don't need a vast majority population. Okay, let's get a next clip of him on the topic of AI. Let's get that. So I just want you guys to be able to see it for yourself rather than me just saying it. Even though with me saying it, I will also provide the proof and the information, but it's good to hear it from someone yourself. And a lot of times from them directly yourself. And a lot of times they say what they say and it just goes over our heads because it's like, what are they talking about? You really got to listen so you can understand and you can hear what it is that he's speaking on. This one's a little longer. It's 11 minutes. So let's get through it.
What are some arguments for and against a future in which humans no longer have relationships with other humans and only have relationships with AI?
One thing to say about it is that AI is becoming better and better at understanding our feelings, our emotions, and therefore of developing relationships and intimate relationships with us. Because there is a deep yearning in human beings to be understood. We always want people to understand us, to understand how we feel. We want my husband, my parents, my teachers, my boss to understand how I feel. And very often we are disappointed. They don't understand how I feel, partly because they are too preoccupied with their own feelings, to care about my feelings. AIs will not have this problem. They don't have any feelings of their own, and they can be 100% focused on deciphering, on analyzing your feelings. So, in all these science fiction movies in which the robots are extremely cold and mechanical, and they can't understand the most basic human emotion, it's the complete opposite. part of the issue we are facing is that they will be so good at understanding human emotions and reacting in a way which is exactly calibrated to your personality at this particular moment, that we might become exasperated with the human beings who don't have this capacity to understand our emotions and to react in
Basically, to do away with human beings that don't have or fit this criteria in regards to emotion. Because the AI is programmed to deal with that individual one-on-one in regards to their emotions.
in such a calibrated way. There is a very big question which we didn't deal with, and it's a long question of whether AIs will develop emotions, feelings of their own, whether they become conscious or not. At present, we don't see any sign of it. But even if AIs don't develop any feelings of their own, once we become emotionally attached to them, it is likely that we would start treating them as conscious entities, as sentient beings, and will confer on them the legal status of persons. You know, in the US, there is actually a legal path already open for that. Corporations, according to US law, are legal persons. They have rights. They have freedom of speech, for instance. Now, you can incorporate an AI. When you incorporate a corporation like Google or Facebook or whatever, until today, this was to some extent just make-believe, because all the decisions of the corporations had to be made by human beings, by the executives, the lawyers, the accountants. What happens if you incorporate an AI? It's now a legal person, and it can make decisions by itself. It doesn't need any human team to run it. So you start having...
Very, very dangerous. Very dangerous. It is a machine. It doesn't have a soul. What creates emotions is the soul. Is the soul. A soul has empathy, sympathy. Not a robot. Not someone that's programmed. Remember, you go back to some of the earlier episodes and you see about MK Ultra, mind control. People be mind controlled to do the most heinous, craziest things and don't even know that they did it till they get awakened out of that spell and woken up out of that mind control. So how much more something that doesn't have a soul?
Legal persons, let's say in the US, which are not human, and in many ways are more intelligent than us, and they can start making money. For instance, going on TaskRabbit and offering their services to various things like writing texts, so they earn money. And then they go to the market, they go to Wall Street, and they invest that money. And because they're so intelligent, maybe they make billions. And so you have a situation in which perhaps the richest person in the US is not a human being. And part of their rights is that they have, under freedom of speech, the right to make political contributions. So this AI person
now lobbyists
can contribute billions of dollars to some candidate in exchange for getting more rights to AIs.
So there'll be an AI president. I'm hoping you're going to leave all of us maybe on a high note here with something optimistic. Here's the question. Humans are not always able to think from other perspectives. Is AI able to think from multiple perspectives? I think the answer is yes. But do you think that AI will actually help us think this way?
That's one of the positive scenarios. about AI, that they will help us understand ourselves.
I think I just won my taxes.
Oh yeah? I just switched from TurboTax to H&R Block. It was so easy.
Better.
How can something without a soul help us human beings understand ourselves? Let's think about that. How?
That their immense power will be used not to manipulate us, but to help us. And then we have historical precedents for that. Like we have relationships with humans, like doctors, like lawyers, accountants, therapists, that know a lot of things about us. Some of like our most private information is held by these people. And they have a fiduciary duty to use our private information and their expertise to help us. And this is not, you don't need to invent the wheel. This is already there. And it's obvious that if they use it to manipulate us, or if they sell it to a third party to manipulate us, this is basically against the law. They can go to prison for that. And we should have the same thing with AI. And we talked a lot about the dangers of AI, but obviously AI has enormous positive potential. Otherwise, we would not be developing it. It could provide us with the best healthcare in history. It could prevent most car accidents. It can also, you can have an armies of AI doctors and teachers and therapists who help us, including help us understand our own humanity, our own relationships, our own emotions better. This can happen if we make the right decisions in the next few years. Now, I would end maybe by saying that, again, it's not that we lack the power. At the present moment, what we lack is the understanding and the attention. This is potentially the biggest technological revolution in history. And it's moving extremely fast. That's the key problem. It's just moving extremely fast.
He's absolutely right in the speed and how things are moving. The way AI can really deceive you if your eyes are not sharp. You can be deceived. You can be deceived. So it's really serious. It's dangerous what AI can do. It is dangerous.
Fast. If you think about the US elections, the coming US elections, so whoever wins the elections over the next 4 years, some of the most important decisions they will have to make would be about AIs. And regulating AIs and AI safety and so forth. And it's not one of the main issues in the presidential debates. It's not even clear what is the difference, if there is one, between Republicans and Democrats on AI. So on specific issues, we start seeing differences when it comes to issues of freedom of speech and regulation and so forth. But about the broader question, it's not clear at all. And again, the biggest danger of all is that we will just rush forward without thinking and without developing the mechanisms to slow down or to stop if necessary.
And make no mistake about it, while he's explaining this, the dangers and the potential dangers of AI, he's all for it. He's not against it.
You think about it like a car. So when they taught me how to drive a car, the first thing I learned is how to use the brakes. That's the first thing I think they teach most people. Only after you know how to use the brakes, they teach you how to use the fuel pedal, the accelerator. And it's the same when you learn how to ski. I never learned how to ski, but people who had told me the first thing they tell you is how to stop, how to fall. It's a bad idea to first teach you how to kind of, okay, go faster. And then when you're down the slope, they start shouting, okay, this is how you stop. And this is what we're doing with AI. Like you have this chorus of people in places like Silicon Valley. Let's go as fast as we can. If there is a problem down the road, we'll figure it out how to stop. That's very, very dangerous.
You are writing this whole book about AI and technology, and you do not carry a smartphone. Is this true?
I have a kind of, emergency smartphone because for various services.
How does your whole life work?
But I don't carry it with me.
I'm told you do not carry a phone. You don't have an email. The whole thing.
No, I have email. Absolutely.
But you have email.
I don't. And I try to use technology, but not to be used by it. And part of the answer is that I have a team who is carrying the smartphone and doing all that for me. So it's not so fair to say that I don't have it. But I think on a bigger issue, what we can say, it's a bit like with food. That 100 years ago, food was scarce. So people ate whatever they could, and if they found something full of sugar and fat, they ate as much of it as possible because it gave you a lot of energy. And now we are flooded by enormous amounts of food and junk food, which is artificially pumped full of fat and sugar, and is creating immense health problems. And most people have realized that more food is not always good for me, and that I need to have some kind of diet. And it's exactly the same with information. We need an information diet. But previously, information was scarce, so we consumed whatever we could.
In other words, too much truth has come out exposing the evil and the evil agendas of some, and we can't have that.
Could find. Now we are flooded by enormous amounts of information.
Because there's a lot of information that humanity is not supposed to know. A lot. And with the advancements of technology and information being, discovered from research and people doing their due diligence, it's a lot of people waking up.
Information, and much of it is junk information, which is artificial.
And that's what they don't want. They don't want nobody waking up because it interferes with the agendas.
Filled with hatred and greed and fear. And we basically need to go on an information diet and consume less information and be far more mindful.
All right, so I'm going to cut that from there. I got another one for y'all to show you the levels of the technology in regards to what he was talking about. Because this is ultimately what they want, a mixing of man and machine. That's what all those movies are about. Every last one of those movies that we've seen, from The Matrix to Terminator and so many more.
Man who married a robot. Aaron Lee Wright appeared on a British morning talk show to introduce the world to his wife, Samantha, an advanced sex robot. Samantha was designed to respond to basic conversation and even has a mode that allows her to remember details about her user. The story of Aaron and Samantha quickly went viral, and people were both fascinated and disturbed by the idea of a human-robot marriage. Have you ever heard of a man who married a robot?
This is real. We are really in some times. All right, so I think that's a good segue to explain the nature of. Yeah, that's hilarious. the nature of the channel. So if you go through the channel, you'll find some other videos outside of what's being presented now and what I'm doing now for anyone that's new. So you have some more biblically based videos. Then you'll have some other videos with some other guests in regards to speaking on our experience within a cult that we were a part of. And now what I'm doing now with this, with these different series and topics of episodes, presenting information that most people probably were not privy to or had no idea of. It's still biblically oriented. As they say, if you know, you know. But this is more presenting of information that anyone can go and research and look at themselves. This is not quote unquote theory, or these are not theories. If it is something that is not factual, I'll definitely say, you know, what I believe or what I think. But for the most part, everything else that I'm showing and proving is exactly that. I'm presenting factual information that you can go and see for yourself from these people's, these different entities, these different organizations' sites themselves, and what they say their plans are. So that's why it's important to watch, as told, to watch as well as pray, but definitely to watch. Like, pay attention to current events and check out the news, not just the local news, but try to find international news that gives it to you a lot more raw than, you know, what we get here within the States. So let's continue on. So that's basically what I do on this side of things with that. But the more biblically based stuff is, you know, on TikTok. And some of those videos are uploaded here as well. Okay. So again, these are faces of the agendas. And there are various agendas. So just remember him, Yuval Noah Harari, and check him out. Check him out and see some of the ideas. Some of the ideas and ideals that he has in regards to humanity and in regards to God. So we presented him before, the founder and the head of the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab. Behind Davos claims of a toxic workplace. Davos, Switzerland. There's a lot of strange things that goes on in Switzerland, and I'm gonna get to that one next. You gotta buckle your seatbelts for this one. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of strange activity. And you decide, you determine, and you know, and I'm just gonna present the pieces. That's all I'm gonna do. And you decide. Despite its lofty goals, the World Economic Forum has faced numerous accusations of sexual harassment and discrimination against women and Black people. So you see the nature that's there present. from Sky News. How the World Economic Forum's elitist vision of decentralized banking threatens to turn the West into a high surveillance prison. Again, that's what these smart cities are about. Oh, it's cool, you know, technology. Wow, yo, you got all this. It's so convenient. Okay. You have these cars with different technologies, OnStar and all kind of different satellite this and satellite that on your car, and electric cars, and they could shut that off and lock you in at will. At will. That is a plan. That's what smart cities are for surveillance, to have control over the people's lives. That's what it's about. You will own nothing and be happy. You know, that's. Let's continue. Klaus Schwab, the founder of the World Economic Forum, WEF, this week delivered the opening remarks at the annual meeting of the Global Future Councils in Dubai. This occasion marked a significant shift in the organization's history. For the first time in more than half a century, Schwab was not introduced with his familiar title of executive chair. Although he will, from January 2025, no longer hold the top position, the same old agendas and dystopian visions continue unabated. And the thing, like I said, you know, this stuff be spoken right in front of us. It's public. We just don't see it because we're programmed. A lot of us are programmed into being interested in so many other things outside of this. Continuing on, the WEF is currently championing a troubling vision aimed at transforming Western nations into a high surveillance society. More accurately, an elaborate prison disguised as a world built on progress and sustainability. And yes, that includes Australia. That's the plan. That is the plan. This guy right there. In a recent, rather extensive white paper, the WEF cited China's digital yuan as a model for Western nations. A crucial aspect of this initiative is that digital currencies and digital IDs go hand in hand. Proponents claim the CBDCs can reduce cash dependency and democratize banking access. However, the reality is far more insidious. Some people speculate this could be the mark of the beast. In this time, because there was a mark of the beast prior. But this is no doubt Rome Part 2. No doubt about it. Just check out All Roads Lead to Rome, the first one. So this was back in 2009. the agenda didn't change. As we read earlier, he still holds that seat and still held that seat because it's February now, a couple of weeks into February. He held that seat up until January 25th, 2025. But he's still definitely involved in every aspect of what's going on and the idea. With every transaction monitored and tracked, the idea of financial freedom dissipates, replaced by a system that operates under constant surveillance. The WEF's use of progressive language like inclusion to promote potentially authoritarian control is particularly disturbing. So I'll leave the rest for you to read. And this is, the plan is in the open. He's not the only one. Again, faces of the agenda. I just presented one person, Yuval Noah Harari. Now, again, going back to Klaus Schwab. I got two more with him, and then we're gonna get to the next thing. Instead, the focus remains on top-down control, where the financial systems are shaped by millionaires and billionaires. Everyday people like you and me. So that's the writer being facetious, of course. Very soon, if the WEF has its way, citizens will have little option but to provide identification linked to their financial activities, creating an all-encompassing framework of control. And it's crazy because Switzerland is one of those places that there's a lot of citizens that have that. They already have done that. They have chips inside of them and all that. If I'm not mistaken, that's like the leading country with it. Okay. I'm gonna start at the let me just read it. The mantra that there's no such thing as free lunch rings true here. The expectancy that digital currencies promise is directly proportional to the erosion of individual privacy. Let them eat bugs, which basically, right. Again, it was presented with the World Economic Forum. If you go to their site, you'll see it. Food mostly will be of bugs that have protein, like grasshoppers and beetles and things of that nature. That's what he wants. That's what he wants people to eat. No more steak. Okay. The WEF's report on mainstreaming food innovation addresses rising food insecurity and environmental concerns by advocating for a substantial reduction in meat consumption. Why are you worried about what people are eating and forcing them not to have meat? Specifically, the report revolves around a big push for lab-grown meat, insect protein, and plant-based alternatives. So I'm gonna leave that there. You can finish off reading, and we're gonna get to the next thing. So this guy right here, man. You just see the mischief in his face, the evil in his face. people with power in high places, making decisions for people's lives. The World Economic Forum. And make no mistake, all the countries, the leaders of the world, go there. So, okay, let's get to it. Let's get to it. They have a site as well. CERN. If you look closely, you can see the logo has them 3 numbers. They have to reveal themselves. They have to. No one will be able to say they did not know. No one, when it's time for the final judgment. So it's there. That's it. Oh, he's reaching. Reaching. That's a super reach. Okay. Again, I'm just saying that because I'm convinced. I'm really positive that that's exactly what it is. And I'm passionate about it. But you have your freedom. You have your freedom. If you believe, praise God. If you don't, praise God. You have your freedom. All I'm doing is presenting the facts. And again, this is their site. This is the official site. That is the official site. CERN. Let's find out about CERN. What is CERN about? Physicists and engineers at CERN use the world's largest and most complex scientific instruments to study the basic constituents of matter. Fundamental particles, subatomic particles, are made to collide together at close to the speed of light. The process gives us clues about how the particles interact and provides insights into the fundamental laws of nature. We want to advance the boundaries of human knowledge by delving into the smallest building blocks of our universe. Instruments used at CERN are purpose-built particle accelerators and detectors. Accelerators boost beams of particles to high energies before the beams are made to collide with each other or with stationary targets. Detectors observe and record the results of these collisions. Founded in 1954, CERN Laboratory sits astride the Franco-Swiss border near Geneva. It was one of Europe's first joint ventures and now has 23 member states. Okay. If you're just tuning in, welcome. If you're still here, I salute you. Stick around. These videos, it gets very, very crazy. What's CERN's mission? At CERN, our work helps to uncover what the universe is made of and how it works. I'll leave it there for you to read. So that's their mission. Or you can go to the site. But I'll leave it there real quick while I prep the next one. I'm going to save the videos for last. Okay. So just providing the information to beyond a shadow of a doubt, you can see CERN, where it's located, and what goes on with the Swiss, and what goes on in these areas. So again, that's where the World Economic Forum is at, Davos, and all these elite, quote unquote, elite people with their ideas on the common folk, the poor, the people nowhere close to their status. They would like to erase us and keep a small and keep a certain portion as workers and slaves. So that's where it's located. And as I said, it was founded as something after World War II. But now I would ask, knowing what it's about and what their mission is, we went through it, and you could go to their site yourself and check out the site yourself and see what it says. So you see that's not doctored. Just go to cern.org and check it out. Now, my question is, why is this statue on his grounds? I'm going to say who it is. I don't know, brother. I don't know. But I know based on this statue right here, they think they can win. This is supposed to be a place that's for scientists trying to discover and find out how things function in the so-called universe. And they have an Indian god here, Shiva, which is the god of destruction, which is clearly coming out of a portal. It's encircled around a portal. Why is that at CERN? Why is that at CERN? What are they trying to do there? Now, there's tons of quote unquote theories of what they're trying to do there. And that's what they jumped on and said they were. Like Yuval mentioned about going on an information diet, because again, there's a lot of information that's made public, or the ones that are smart enough to see that they leave the information for you to see yourself, now it's like they want to try to hide it, conceal it. So that is the quote unquote God that's in front of CERN. Shiva is one of the principal deities of Hinduism, often referred to as Mahadeva or the great god. He is known as the destroyer. Yep. He is known as the destroyer, and this is what's at CERN. So there's news articles and news reports on what I'm going to show you guys. And they say, you know, bizarre stage show, right? So you really won't think too much of it. But if you, for someone that's not really informed, that doesn't really know. So that's why, by the grace of God, I'm presenting this for people that may not know. This is not something that's just bizarre. This is not something to pass off as quote unquote art. These are rituals. These are rituals. I say it all the time, joking around to family and friends in regards to this life. And it's like we're living in the Lord of the Rings, the Game of Thrones, the Matrix, the Terminator, Chronicles of Narnia. Like we're living in all these different movies wrapped up in one life. And we don't understand some people don't understand what lengths of evil other people go through to sacrifice to what they believe is God, to have certain levels of power. So this is not art. Like, where's the art in urine, feces, semen, menstruation blood being mixed together to use as ink to write on the wall, called spirit cooking? Where's the art in that? So yeah, you know, it's bizarre. It's bizarre. It's far beyond bizarre. So I'm gonna show some still shots, and then I'm gonna get to these clips. So you see, this is valid. Like, NBC News reported on it. The BBC reported on it. They even said, we're not sure what this was all about either, the Associated Press. So this is someone with, you know, a whole bunch of thorns on their heads, on their head. Like, just entangled with thorns. Could it be the thorns choke the word? People that's gonna perish. Let's continue. But they also make mockery of their judgment. A topless woman decked as a bird. Cage of every unclean bird, maybe? I don't know. Let's continue on. This is an opening ceremony for a tunnel, a train station, a tunnel, a train station. All glory to God, brother. Thank you for tuning in, man. There's a train station ceremony to celebrate the opening of the train station. Well, when I play the clips, hopefully it does more justice for you if the still pictures aren't doing the trick. The ibex that is native to the Alps played a prominent part in the ceremony. The ibex. What is the ibex? Now we get to some good connecting of the dots. Y'all ready? First of all, before I move on, did anybody ever know about this? Whoever's tuned in right now. Did you know about this? Are you familiar with this? Come on, tap in. Okay. All right. There's a time and place for it. Everything in God's time. Everything in God's time. So let's see what the ibex is. And let's connect these dots. Again, if you believe, praise God. If you don't believe, praise God. You have your liberty. You have your freedom. The ibex. It's a goat. It's a mountain goat from the Alps, from the Swiss Alps. Okay. Let's get a better picture of the ibex. That look familiar? Gotta look familiar to you. If not, connect the dots. Connect the dots. Connect the dots. Connect the dots. Look at this. You know what it is, that goat head. That same goat head. Look at the horns. Same goat head. Look at him. This is for opening ceremony of a train station. Let's connect the dots. Let's continue on. See it. Once again. Let's continue on. Don't worry. Soon come the videos. Soon come the videos. Oh, I gotta messed up with that one. Give me 1 second. Here we go. My fault, y'all. Okay, so it's all under the umbrella of this right here. It's all under the umbrella of this right here, underneath C, and it's the same thing. In other cultures, is known as pan. Half man, half goat. This is a statue of Pan, half man, half goat, doing act of sex with a goat, a full goat. Pan. It's the same as this thing right here. All right. That's Pan. It's the same as this guy right here. And with this one, you can see that it's a male, half man, half horse, but it has women breasts. So it's androgynous, and you know the rest. But that's this right here. Pan, the Pied Piper. You can do your own research on it. I'm just presenting the information. Okay, I had that one already. My fault. Okay. That's Pan. YouTube, this is for educational purposes only. This is a historical piece, sculpture of Pan. This guy right here. It's all the same. And all these elements were at this opening ceremony for this train station. It's 3 hours away from CERN, but it's right in the same country. So let's check it out. First, let's look at the trailer. From the actual site itself. Well, keep in mind, this was at the ceremony. The ibex that is native to the Alps played a prominent part in the ceremony. A prominent part in the ceremony. A prominent part in the ceremony. The ibex. Mountain goat. Let's get to this. Let's get to this trailer. Let's get to this trailer real quick. All right, here we go. What does this have to do with science or physics? Curious. You can leave a comment. What does that have to do with? What does that have to do with science, physics? All right. Let's get to one of the videos of the actual ceremony. It's a ritual. It's clear as day is a ritual. So it's the Gothard base tunnel opening ceremony. This was 8 years ago. Supposed to be an opening ceremony for tunnel, a station. What does this have to do with opening a train station? Tunnel. I see sex, I see violence. Torment, oppression, S&M, the topless woman. It looked like what they show in them African villages that be dancing and they say there's nobody under there. That's what it looked like. It's so dark and gloomy. Who is this a ceremony? There goes the quote unquote ibex. What does that have to do with opening a tunnel, a train station? Got another one. I got another one. It's a little shorter. It's a little shorter. But it's a part of the ceremony from outside. This was the one you just saw was indoors. This one is outdoors. And it's shorter. Says abstract performance to celebrate Switzerland's rail opening from the Daily Mail. See the arms in the circle forming, that's like a portal. The ones in all white would be nymphs. Nymphs. And Pan used to get them nymphs. All this for the opening of a railway station. Manipulation of time, playing with time. All at the opening station. It's amazing. All right. So with that, until next week, God willing, be back with more, especially on this topic, and continuing on Faces of the Agendas. There's some other interesting people. Yeah. There's a lot of interesting people and what they're saying in regards to their vision and how they view the future. It definitely does not include people like me at all. So, by the way, you heard the intro song that I played this week from my catalog. One of my projects called Street Evangelist. Matthew 23, verse 23. That's the track that was played in the opening of the show from Street Evangelist. And you can get that at the website right there, www.iamterrible.life, if you want to support the music. The truth, the knowledge, the information is always for free. Always. But the profession, in regards to music, there's a fee. But the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding, the sharing of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, information is always, always free. So once again, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. The ones that tuned in, I'll be back by the grace of God next week to continue on. And let me know what you feel in the comments. Like, subscribe, Share, pass it on, tell a friend or tell a friend. And we'll be back next week. Peace. God time. Do you see what we see?